Hey guys, YouTube Iron Hunter here. Alright, and now here I am continuing on with the Phase 3 of the MCU reviews. Now, continuing, here I am with a review for Spider-Man Homecoming. So, yeah, just like I said before, this isn't gonna really be like my traditional type of review where I completely go through the entire premise of the film because I really already did that back when I made the video giving my thoughts about the movie after I went to see it in theaters. And I did give my initial thoughts on the movie after I did see it in the theater. So yeah, if you really want to see that a video, if you really want to hear me go through the whole premise of the film, I'll have a link for that video down in the description if you want to really hear me go through the entire premise of the movie. All right, so yeah, with this one, it's not really going to be my traditional type of review since I've really already talked about the film. Really, what I'm going to talk about, in this review, really how I'm going to really make this review for the film, is really I'm just gonna go over some of the choices that this movie made and what I really did like about it, and kind of go through some of the problems of the film if I do come across any. So yeah, this is just going to be kind of a different review since I've already pretty much talked about the premise of the film. All right. So yeah, like I said before, I really did go to see this movie. I was in kind of two minds about it. On the one hand, and yeah, on the one hand, I didn't really like the fact this movie being made, seeing how once again Spider-Man was just rebooted in such a short amount of time. From the Raimi trilogy to the first reboot series, it was a 5-year period between the time that the franchise was rebooted, which was just ridiculous. I mean, you don't reboot a franchise that quickly. And then, yeah, from the first reboot series to this film, it was an even shorter time. It was only a 3-year period, or it was just 2 years if you count Captain America: Civil War. So yeah, I was kind of in two minds about it because yeah, on that hand, I didn't like that it was being rebooted so quickly again, and yeah, but on the other hand, I really did like it because yeah, this film was actually from Marvel, and with Spider-Man back home, I really was curious to see what Marvel was really going to do with this. And after seeing Spider-Man: Captain America: Civil War, I really did love it. So yeah, after that, I was really looking forward to this film being made. And yeah, I really did like this film. Like I said before, this one was a reboot that was actually done right. Because yeah, like I was saying before, with the first reboot series, it was literally just copying so freaking much from the original Sam Raimi trilogy, and particularly the first film of the first reboot. Seriously, that film just literally copied so freaking much from the first Sam Raimi film. So yeah, I really was not a fan of the first reboot series at all. But with this one, this was actually done right. This really didn't tell the same story, and I am glad that they did not really make this an origin story once again. I mean, yeah, seeing how was he was already in Captain America: Civil War, I guess that was a clue that this was not going to be an origin story. But on the other hand, if you've seen the DC films, of course this film did come out a couple of years ago in 2017, which of course was when Wonder Woman was also released, and Wonder Woman, well, of course Wonder Woman was already in Batman vs Superman, and this was not the first time we were going to be seeing her. But really, the Wonder Woman movie really was just kind of just an entire flashback of when she did first become the hero that she was. So yeah, it was kind of like a flashback story. So yeah, I was after that, I was kind of a little bit skeptical about it, seeing how this may have actually been the same thing, and this could have actually just been and something where it was kind of just telling a backstory, really showing since how we already did see Peter in a Spider-Man Homecoming, Captain America: Civil War. So yeah, we actually didn't know that he was Spider-Man at this point. What did happen to him? This could have been something where he was actually this actually was telling the story of how he did become Spider-Man, but that's not what Marvel did. They actually did have this film take place after the events of Civil War. So yeah, so they totally just skipped through the origin story and actually just jumped into giving him some some character arcs and just go. It's like a bunch of story arcs. So yeah, I am glad that they decided to just like dive right into it instead of just making another origin story about it since we've already seen it so much. So yeah, that was something I did like about the film. Yeah, and yeah, and I also did like that they actually did give this film like different villains that we really hadn't seen before, especially seeing how like we had already seen the Green Goblin like a bunch of times. Of course, like we had the Green Goblin in the original Spider-Man movie, and of course, then also Harry did come back as the new Goblin in Spider-Man 3, and then of course like in the second film of the reboot we did had him again, though it was just like 2 minutes he was on screen. So yeah, we had already seen the Green Goblin a bunch of times, and so yeah, so after that, and plus how he had really kind of like seen the same characters and stuff. Yeah, it was just getting kind of tiring. But here, we actually did get villains that we hadn't seen before. They actually decided to give us new villains here. Like we of course had Vulture, and we also had Shocker in this movie. So yeah, I was glad that they did like give this film new villains. And yeah, I was especially glad to see Vulture in this movie. Like he's one of the Spider-Man villains that I really have wanted to see in film. So I am glad that they did that. And yeah, of course, like in the sequel, like for this film, of Spider-Man Far From Home, they've got Mysterio in the film. So I am glad that they are like branching out and using new villains. And of course, like with the Venom movie, maybe that could like leading up to him being, you know, in a future Spider-Man Marvel film. I don't know, but yeah, I guess like I am going to overlook that, seeing how there was very little Venom in Spider-Man 3, and they actually want to try to do it right. So yeah, maybe that could actually happen. I don't know yet. I There hasn't been anything I think actually revealing it yet, but yeah, only time will tell if it will happen. But yeah, I love that they did branch out and really decide to put like have like villains that haven't been in film before in here. So I am glad that they did that. Yeah, and this really was done very well. Like I said, I really do think. Well, yeah, like before, like back when I like first saw the film, I was like kind of a little bit skeptical about it. Like I really did love it, and I really was like leaning to call it the best Spider-Man film ever made. But yeah, it was kind of like a toss-up between this film and Spider-Man 2. But now I think I can definitely say that this is definitely the best Spider-Man movie. I do think that it is definitely better than Spider-Man 2. So I do think that this really is the best Spider-Man movie of all time. And well, yeah, at least like the big Spider-Man films. Of course, there's that Spider-Verse movie that a lot of people did love, and some people are proclaiming that the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Now, I don't know if I can actually go that far, or because it's tough. I mean, I would probably have to like watch the Spider Verse movie again because yeah, I saw it and I did like it, but yeah, I'll have to see it again and really just compare these two films and actually really see which one really is better. But yeah, yeah, as of like the big like live action Spider Man films, I really do think this is the best one. Yeah, Tom Holland is just like really great in the role of Spider Man. Of course, like he's definitely like he is the most accurate representation of Spider Man in film so far. And of course, yeah, because for one thing, he's like, of course, much younger than like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, where they were like pretty much 30 years old and they were playing like an 18-year-old character. Like, what the hell is that? Yeah, but yeah, Tom Holland, he's like much younger and he actually does look the proper age. Which Tom Holland was like a 20 years old at the time. Yeah, but yeah, and he plays a 15-year-old character, and at least Tom Holland, he does actually look really young, and he actually does look the age. I never did buy like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield while actually looking like Peter Parker's age, like of 17, 18 years old. I mean, that was just dumb. So yeah, they did make the right choice with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Yeah, and he's of course like the most accurate representation of Spider-Man. So yeah, I really do think that he is the best Spider-Man of all time as far as accuracy goes. As far as like how being like a superhero like, I do think that Tobey Maguire is overall the best one as far as that goes. He is like the best Spider-Man when it comes to like being superhero like because of course he was like definitely like had like enhanced strength and great combat and stuff, and he actually was like really muscular. So yeah, I still do say that Tobey Maguire is probably like the best Spider-Man as far as like superhero ness goes. But as far as like an accurate representation of Spider-Man, like how he was in the comics and stuff, I definitely do say Tom Holland is the best one, and he just kills it in this film. Like he's just so great to watch, and yeah, he has like, just like some great comedy throughout. Like when he is like fighting people and stuff, and like when he is like helping people, like he's like like being like really silly throughout, and just yeah, it totally just fits his character. Like he's just so great. Yeah, and yeah, Robert Downey Jr. He's back as Iron Man in this film. Like he's still like trying to really like still acting as a mentor towards Peter, though he's not really like totally in this film all that much. Like like but the way these the trailers of this movie went, it was kind of making me think that maybe like throughout the film, it was gonna be like Tony Stark just like training Spider-Man throughout this film to become an Avenger and stuff, and it was really just gonna be something where he was just like basically like accompanying Spider-Man everywhere whenever he went out to like try to fight crime and stuff. So yeah, I was thinking that it was gonna be something like that throughout this film, but that's not really what we get because Robert Downey Jr. really doesn't have like a huge role in this film. I mean, he does of course like appear in the film, on occasion, but he's not really like totally like around Peter 24/7 when he goes out as Spider-Man. So and I really just yeah, Tony like does have Peter like really just like answer to Happy whenever he like has any questions or anything or if there's trouble. Like he really like Happy really acting as Peter's source of like security and stuff. Yeah, so it's really just like it's more like Happy really sort of like guiding Peter throughout the film like and stuff. So yeah, it's really like not really as much like Tony Stark really like mentoring Peter throughout the film. So yeah, that was kind of interesting to see. And like I said before, I do like how this film also like it puts Peter like it has him like around a different crowd in this film. Like there's no Harry in this film or Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy or yeah any of those people that like have been known like in the comics and the other movies. He's that Peter's been around. He's like around like a different crowd in this film. Like his best friend Ned, and his love interest is Liz, and there's also this girl Michelle Jones, which of course like at the end of the movie she said like her nickname is MJ. So I guess this is kind of like a diff- the new like sort of Mary Jane type of character and stuff. So yeah, I do like that they did put Peter around a different crowd in this film. I'm not sure if like this is like a crowd that Peter was actually around in sort of like another sort of Spider-Man comic series because I know there are like some other renditions of Spider-Man comics rather than just the original ones. And it's like, of course, like after there were like a bunch of other one or Spider Man series that like are kind of like are set in different universes where like there's like eventually where the a new Spider-Man comes along. Of course, there's like Miles Morales and Peter's daughter and stuff. So yeah, there were like different type of Spider-Man comics for that like in different universes where like there's a new Spider person that comes around. So yeah, I'm not sure if like this crowd is actually like a crowd in like one of those series. I don't know. But yeah, regardless, I do like that this film does actually put Peter around a different crowd of people in this film rather than the usual ones that people know both for being around Peter. So I did like that. Yeah, and Michael Keaton as the Vulture, he was definitely like really good in this film. I thought it was interesting, and I did like really how Marvel and stuff and like Sony, like this is still technically like still under Sony's production because yeah, Sony still does technically like own the rights to Spider-Man, but yeah, they did like strike the deal up with Marvel to kind of just share the rights so Spider-Man could be part of the MCU. So yeah, while Sony does still like technically he still owns Spider-Man. Marvel's does like still like yeah they do still have Spider-Man back. So yeah, but anyway, as I was saying, yeah, I did like that they did put Michael Keaton in the role because yeah, really just in the Marvel films like whenever they have a villain and stuff, they really don't like really cast like a whole lot of big time well known actors in the villain roles. Like it's like Michael Keaton's really the first like really like big well known actor to really be in a villain in a Marvel film. It's like of course like Marvel has had like some like act some like decent like well known actors in the film. Like they not really don't like it's historically in the Marvel films the villains have been played by not really nobodies, but yeah, actors that like like well not really like that well not really like people have never heard of. They're really just like actors that really aren't like totally like big time actors. Like if people do mention the names, like people will think of them, but yeah, they're not really like people. actors that people will like immediately think of right in their head. Like there was Mickey Rourke as the villain in Iron Man 2. There was Tim Roth as Abomination in the Incredible Hulk. There was Ben Kingsley in Iron Man 3. And yeah, just yeah, you see what I'm getting at. Like historically, like there haven't really been like that many like really like any big name actors really cast as villains in the Marvel movies. Yes, but yeah, this is like the first one to really do it. Where like Michael Keaton, who's of course like known for playing Batman, yeah, is like in the role of a villain. So I did like that choice that they made. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, as far as like some other things go, like we do, like there's like Aunt May, and once again in this film, and she's still played by Marissa Tomei. And as far as like Aunt May goes, of course, like I haven't really talked about this. Like she is like a significantly younger Aunt May than like people are familiar with. Of course, like in the comics, Aunt May was like an old lady, 80, like probably like in her 60s or something, and she had gray hair. And yeah, in the original Raimi trilogy, like they did like kind of like really get that down with Rosemary Harris in the role. In the first reboot series with Sally Field, she was like kind of younger in that those films. Like yeah, she wasn't like technically like a young woman, but yeah, she was probably like in her 40s or 50s or something. Yeah, but here Marissa Tomei, she's like significantly younger. She's yeah, I mean, yeah, Marissa Tomei, she's like already in her 50s, but she does look like pretty young. She looks probably like she's in her 30s or 40s or something. Yeah, she does look like significantly younger as Aunt May in these films. So yeah, yeah, I thought it was interesting to do that. I mean, I guess it is kind of like more realistic if since Peter is younger, Aunt May's younger too. So yeah, yeah, but really, just is there really any reason for Peter not to tell Aunt May that he's Spider-Man in these movies? Because I mean, she is like a lot younger. I think she could really handle it just fine. I mean, yeah, of course, like in the comics and like the Raimi films, yeah, of course, like Aunt May was a lot older, so yeah, she probably really couldn't handle the stress of this and fear of Peter's life being in danger with him as Spider-Man. And while in the first reboot series, while Sally Field was like a younger Aunt May, she was still like kind of under a lot of stress. So it would make sense why Peter wouldn't like tell her that he's a Spider-Man in those films. But here, yeah, Aunt May's a lot younger, and it really doesn't look like she's dealing with any stress. I mean, Peter does say at one point she's kind of been through a lot, but we never know what. But I mean, I don't know like how long this film is set after the death of Uncle Ben, but yeah, she still seems like just fine. So I really think that she could handle Peter being Spider-Man just fine. Which of course, like maybe, and of course, like she does find out at the very end of the film. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But yeah, and yeah, and we also like do kind of see some first in this film, like like, there's like that part where Peter is kind of like fighting the Vulture for like, and he's when he's like fallen into a lake or something, like Iron Man rescues him, but it's shown that Tony is not actually in the Iron Man suit. It's like he's controlling it by a remote or something. It's like autopilot, and that's something we really didn't see before in prior MCU films. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting first that Tony could still be Iron Man without him actually being in the suit. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, and in the scene where Tony ends up taking Peter's suit, I think that's kind of like a hypocritical move because, of course, like he says, if Peter is nothing without that suit, then he shouldn't have it. But really, what can he do without the Iron Man suit? I mean, there are people that are probably thinking of Iron Man 3, but that's not quite the same thing. I mean, does he really like end up like fighting crime or saving anybody without his Iron Man suit? So yeah, I really think that's kind of a hypocritical move by Tony, seeing how really he's nothing without the Iron Man suit either. So yeah, I find that still kind of hypocritical. Yeah. And I guess I'll talk a little bit about Peter's homemade Spider-Man suit because, of course, like that was what he wore before he came in contact with the Avengers, and it's also what he wears in this film after Tony takes the Spider-Man suit. And at first, I really did not like it. I just really thought it was like a pretty crappy type of suit. I think it just looked like a bum type of Spider-Man suit. But over time, as I looked at it, I feel like it does kind of make sense for him to sort of wear that. I mean, it's kind of like like in the original film, back when Peter like first did like come Spider-Man and stuff, like back like in his wrestling costume, it was like a very simple type of suit. It was just like really like all sweat and not really like super detailed like the real Spider-Man suit would become. And I guess this is kind of a similar thing. How really just it's made of all sweat. It's really and it's not like an absolutely like totally cool superhero costume. So and I guess it would kind of make sense for Peter to really wear something like that, especially since he is a lot younger and really like he's not like all like that big millionaire or anything, or like some a grown adult that really is able to really make like a really like cool type of superhero suit. And it's like just a starter thing that he had to make with whatever he had. So yeah, I guess it does like work out in that sense. So yeah, I guess I was like kind of harsh on it back when I first saw it. So yeah, I really do think that it's not really as stupid and bad as I had made out in the past. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it's also like interesting the way Vulture actually does figure out that Peter is Spider-Man in this film, because rather than like that every time like in previous films where they figured out he's Spider-Man, it's just like they learned it through like he's just like unmasked in front of them, or just like they do figure out that he is Spider-Man through something that has happened, like in the original film, how uh, when Norman or the Green Goblin found out Peter was Spider-Man, like from that cut that he had on his arm, so like, just like what he did to Spider-Man. So yeah, it pretty much like told him that Peter was Spider-Man, and and then like all the other villains throughout the Spider-Man films have figured out that he is a Peter or Parker, or that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, just like through like figuring out like just straight up whether he's unmasked, asked, or somebody tells him he's Spider-Man, or yeah, whatever the case may be. And here, like it's never like like completely like said like it's not just like said right in front of Vulture that Peter is Spider-Man, or he doesn't really see like Spider-Man unmasked and that's Peter Parker. He just like puts two and two together of everything that has happened, because yeah, in the scene where he's driving Peter and Liz to the dance, how it's just saying like this is like just saying what has gone on, like the stuff at the Washington Monument and like the party where like Peter was supposed to bring Spider-Man over and stuff. It just said how Peter was not around during that time, and like Spider-Man had like made the save and stuff. Just like he puts two and two together, and he just like figures out that Peter is Spider-Man in that way. And I just thought that was like a really creative and clever way to like pretty much reveal to Vulture that Peter is Spider-Man. I just really like that they do it that way. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And there are some people that like do kind of complain about the fact that Peter doesn't actually kill the villain and stuff, and he just like gets like totally the heck beaten out of him throughout the entire fights. But I mean, come on, he's still like much younger. I mean, yeah, even like just at this, like with this being like the first Spider-Man film from the MCU, like he's still like much younger than like Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield. Well, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were in their first films. So yeah, he's like 15 years old. So and plus, since he's like smaller and stuff, he doesn't really like that much. Isn't really like as strong and as powerful. So I mean, it does make sense why this would happen. And of course, like the Vulture doesn't actually die in this film. Like Peter like tries to stop Vulture or suit from exploding when he has like the bombs and stuff, but stuff. And yeah, he does actually like save him from dying, and Vulture just ends up getting arrested. And of course, he does survive the film. So yeah, yeah. And as far as like how like the ending goes with Tony is like bringing up Peter to the Avengers headquarters and pretty much making him the offer to become a full-time Avenger and like show him the Iron Spider-Man suit. And with Peter turning it down, I feel that was kind of like just a useless and pointless decision that was made, because I mean since he like ends up like becoming an Avenger anyway in Infinity War, where I really feel like just him turning it down was like just completely pointless. He may as well have just taken the offer and joined, since like he was gonna become an Avenger anyway. So I just feel that was kind of a pointless decision to be made. But it's really just like really nitpicky. I mean, it's not anything that's like a super big deal. It's just like a nitpick and just something that I feel is useless. Yeah, yeah. And then of course with the ending, with Peter getting the Spider-Man suit back from Tony. And then it shows like him wearing it, and then Aunt May catches him wearing it, and just like, what the? But yeah, so yeah, yeah. So by that, now that Aunt May knows Peter is Spider-Man. How is she actually going to take this? I mean, yeah, of course, like there wasn't any follow up on this in Infinity War. Just like the Aunt May wasn't in Infinity War, so yeah, I guess I'm not sure how well that she is going to take it at Peter Spider-Man. Maybe Far From Home will actually take actually like show what she actually thinks of it, but yeah, it'll just like we'll have to wait and see what she thinks about it. But yeah, and of course with the post credit scene with well, not the post credit scene, the mid credit scene with Vulture's one of Vulture's buyers, like being in the same prison that he was taken to, he pretty much figures out that Peter is Spider-Man, and or like he just like knows that Vulture knows Spider-Man's identity. But Vulture just denies it. So yeah, this will probably carry over to Far From Home as well because yeah, in Far From Home, a Vulture is listed in the cast to return. Yeah, Michael Keaton's listed in the cast to return for the film. So yeah, probably some continuation between Peter and or Spider-Man and the Vulture in the movie. And I don't know what type of role Mysterio is going to have in the movie. So yeah, Far From Home comes out this summer. It's the MCU film after Avengers Endgame. So yeah, I am curious to see what Far From Home will have because yeah, this film is going to have Nick Fury really as like directing a Spider-Man in this film. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what Far From Home does plan to do since this is actually set after Infinity War. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. But yeah, I do still like this film. Like it's definitely like a very great film. I would definitely give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. It is definitely like worth to watch, even if you're like me, how I was with the first reboot film that you don't want to watch it, and even like about this film, with it being like rebooted in such a short time. Trust me, it is still definitely like a very great film. Like, don't take the fact that it's been rebooted in such a short time and like give you the wrong impression because it doesn't do the same thing that the first reboot series did. It actually does take a different turn, and it is like a reboot done right. So yeah, watch the film if you haven't seen it before. Oh yeah, and one more thing I'm just talking about. I haven't said anything yet. And the Marvel Studios logo, like well, in the opening of the film, I didn't even notice that it had like the old Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Yeah, it had like that old Spider-Man music. So yeah, I didn't even notice that when I went to see it in the theater, and I just noticed it as I rewatched it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting too. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it is definitely worth a huge watch. I mean, yeah, watch it if you haven't seen it before. Of course, like you're gonna have to go back and kind of like watch him in Civil War before you actually do see this film. But still, once you have, give the film a watch. It is definitely worth it. It is great, and it is an accurate representation and a reboot done right, and it's just Spider-Man done right. So yeah, watch it if you haven't yet. All right. So that's really the best what I can really say about it. So yeah, so yeah. So I guess that's also from my review of Spider-Man: Homecoming. I hope you guys did enjoy how I did this review. Just like seeing how I just since I had already talked about the film, I just wanted to like talk about it the best way I could. So I hope that this review did turn out okay for you guys. All right, but anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed the review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.